Hello students, welcome to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University, Hyderabad. Today we will be discussing one important topic as part of our BA Sociology second year third semester. We have been discussing these topics in our classes. Today we will be discussing on social issues. Among those social issues, child labor issues is one of the important unit in our syllabus, as well as bonded labor is also one of the important issue in the social issues. Now we will try to understand about this child labor as well as bonded labor in this particular class. Before that, let us try to understand who is a child, to whom we will call him or her as a child. There are different definitions. There are lot of varied with organizations and countries. But let us try to understand. According to Article 1 of United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child in the year 1989, we call it as UNCRC. They have given one definition. A child means every human being below the age of 18 years. Unless under the law applicable to the child, majority is attained earlier. Means the definition of the child is given by the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child 1989. According to them is below 18 years. And another important definition is being given by International Labour Organization. According to ILO, they mostly refer the child means below the age of 15 years. Another important international organization, UNICEF, they also given another definition about who is a child. According to the UNICEF, a child is defined as every human being below the age of 18 years. Means there is a vary between different organizations and also in different countries. Particularly in India, we have we are treating who is a child means according to the Child Labor Act, means the Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Amendment Act 2016. This is also aligned with our Indian Constitution. This act strictly bans the employment of a child, means employment or work for the child below the age of 14 years. In many acts in India, we will treat whoever is 14 years below, we will make them as a child. In some acts it is 18 years, but when you take it particularly for the work, means no children is allowed to work below the 14 years. That very strictly followed in Indian context. Now what are the causes? When we look at this child labor, it is very prevalent in India, and though we have an act, Child Labor Act, but still why the child labor is very huge in India, we need to understand. That is, one important cause is economic causes, means extreme poverty. In economic causes, we need to understand extreme poverty, because there is no food, there is no shelter, there is no clothing facility at household level, so that the children are going to some sort of work in industries or in agriculture or agriculture related activities. So because of this poverty, the child labor is increasing, or child labor is prevails. And another important point is extracting more work from lesser wage. The managements of the industries or factories, they wanted to extract maximum work and paying lesser wage. This is also one of the reason. And another important reason is securing the more profit, means the industry owners or the factory owners, they wanted to earn more profits. For that reason, they deploy this child labor and they make them work. These are some of the economic reasons. Another is the family factors. This is also one of the important factor. Family factors means in a family, if the divorce rate is high, so that the child definitely he will choose some sort of work for his living conditions. So where there is a divorce rate is very high, the child labor is also increasing. And the next point is desertion, means when the family is separated, there is no way for the children to to make him to live, so that he will go for some sort of work and getting into some sort of livelihood activity. So because of the desertion, the child labor is also increasing. And another important point is violence at home. At home, if there is a violence, there is a then people, they don't understand the children, they go and they get settled in the work. Other important factors is lack of public awareness, and there is no awareness on child labor, and there is a trafficking. Human trafficking is also very high to become this child getting into this child labor activity. So we need to understand, we have got a wonderful act, that is Child Labor Regulation and Prohibiting Act in the year 1986. So this is a very landmark act where the children were not allowed below 14 years in any hazardous or any dangerous factories or industries. At the same time, Article 24 also, Article 24 also provided in our Indian Constitution. So this is also not allows any boy or girl into the work. Another factor, another important topic today we will be discussing is bonded labor. Now let us try to understand what is bonded labor. It is defined a system of forced, means people are forced labor work where a debitor enters into an oral or written agreement with a creditor. So in consideration of an advance, or it must be a social obligation, or it must be a hereditary succession. Means we need to understand a oral agreement or written agreement taken place between a creditor and debitor, where the debitor is supposed to work. It is very much prevailed in Indian society. It is also prevailed in a different society across the globe in a different form. So where the debitor is purposefully, he is supposed to do, he doesn't have any other option. For example, he must be losing many things. For example, he loses the freedom of employment or alternately livelihoods. Means once he has gone into the agreement, he doesn't get an opportunity to in another employment as well as alternative livelihoods. And also the debitor loses right to move freely across India. Once the agreement is taken place, means it is some sort of exploitation is happening. Particularly the bonded labor is treated as some sort of exploitation. We have to consider it. And the debitor do not have right to sell their labor or product at the market. He doesn't have that right to offer his work or his labor to any other purpose. To prohibit this, we have got the Bonded Labor System Abolition Act in the year 1976. This is a very landmark act where a crucial topic, bridging Indian polity. We have got a very good constitution provision to have a social justice and labor laws. So now let us try to understand what are the causes for this bonded labor. Again, the poverty, because of the poverty, people don't have, particularly in rural areas or tribal areas, they do not have enough food, enough shelter, enough clothing. They will get into this bonded labor, and there is a exploitation. Means wealthy people or upper caste people are also, the landlords exploit is the particularly other backward communities or Dalit communities to this bonded labor. So this is also one of the factor. And many people in the villages, they do not have enough work to do. That is the reason also for getting into the bonded labor. And people wanted to work something, but they do not have enough money or enough amount to do their self employment. Then they get into the agreement of the bonded labor. Another thing we need to understand is the social factors. Means this bonded labor is coming hereditarily from last few decades. So, then naturally the people treat that this is only their work to do. And another important thing is heavy debits. Generally the people get into the debits, and that repeated debits may lead for to work something. There they will find only the bonded labor. And one more important thing is, in villages large amount of money is being spent into the marriages, deaths, or other functions, especially birthdays and also other parties. This is also forcing the people to get into the debts. It is also one of the indirect reason for getting into the bonded labor. And what are the recommendations from we can give to prohibit or to reduce this bonded labor is, the government has to provide enough employment opportunities, livelihood opportunities like MG Narega, like Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, where as much as employment is created in rural villages. At the same time, in villages, if anyone wanted to have self employment, they must be given loans and encourage them to be self employed. At the same time, we need to rejuvenate the rural cottage industries. So, rural village level cottage industries, that would also help to decline this bonded labor. Now, we have tried to understood that child labor as well as bonded labor, these are the social issues which is really affecting the entire society in a large perspective. When we address this, we economically also grow, employmentability also provided in a better form. Thank you.